Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing some makeup inventory. I thought it'd be fun to see how many items I had in every single makeup category in my collection. So I hope you guys are interested. But before we get into it, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it, and let's get into it. At the moment, I am pretty happy with my makeup collection. I'm not overwhelmed by it anymore the way that I was last year. Last year I did do a makeup declutter series, so I will go ahead and link those down below in case you missed them. A lot of you seem to really enjoy those, so thank you so much for watching those. I think the only category I didn't do though was lips. I don't know why, I just started feeling kind of overwhelmed with the idea of like decluttering my lip collection because I had so many. So I did do a few declutters of my lip collection, but I just didn't film them. And then after filming my makeup declutter series, I did do quite a few declutters without filming them either. I started giving a lot of makeup away to friends and family. I tossed a lot of expired makeup. And after that, I started really enjoying my makeup collection again. So all of that to say, at this moment, I am pretty happy with my makeup collection. I love shopping my stash now, and I feel like I use a lot more of it. I have consciously made an effort to do that as well. So let's go ahead and get into the makeup inventory. Let's start with the first category, primers. I have 8 primers at the moment. One of them is a primer spray, and I had thought about putting it into the makeup setting spray category, but it technically is a primer and that is how I use it. I never use it as a setting spray, so that's why it's in this category. And then one of them is a backup of my E.L.F. Power Grip Primer, the niacinamide one. I'm almost completely out of the mini that I have open, and I just really love that primer. So I do have a backup that I didn't actually purchase. I did get it for free with an order from Ulta last year, I think around December, and I haven't opened it yet. So as soon as I'm out of the one that I have open, I am gonna go ahead and start using that one because it is one of my favorite primers. The E.L.F. Jelly Pop Primer is the newest one in my collection, and I've only used it once. I just opened it a couple of days ago. And so far I liked it. It's very hydrating, but I'm just gonna have to keep testing it with different foundations. And then, yeah, I didn't want to go through all of the primers in my collection. I'm going to leave up the picture on the screen, but I'm really happy with my primer collection. Most of them are drugstore, as you can see. Actually, all of them are drugstore except for the Hourglass one, which is just a sample. I plan on adding a couple more primers. Oh, hi, Evie. I do plan on adding a couple more primers throughout the year. I don't want it to get out of control though, because I did have quite a few before I did my makeup declutter series that I really wasn't using. So I'm just gonna keep it to a minimum, at least a minimum for me. I don't want to be buying a bunch of new primers just to buy them. Next is foundations, and right now I have 12. I used to have a lot more than that, and a lot of them either didn't match me or I didn't like the formula. So the ones that I have right now, I like almost all of them. I would say my least favorite ones are the ones from Wet n Wild that I tried recently. They're honestly kind of a fail. I haven't been able to make them work, and I am gonna do a drugstore makeup roundup maybe in like a couple of weeks. I'm still trying to test out a few different things. Overall, I would say I tend to favor drugstore foundations just from looking at my collection. The high-end foundations that I have, I do really like, but there's something about drugstore foundations that have just worked for me more in general. So that's why I have mostly drugstore foundations in my collection. I don't know how many I had before I did all of my declutters. I really wish I would have counted all of the makeup in all the categories before I did that, just to compare to my collection now. Don't get me wrong, I still want to try new foundations throughout the year. I think that's the one category that I do want to really expand on. But even then, I want to keep my collection manageable, so I will be decluttering foundations that just don't work for me instead of holding on to them like I used to in the past. Okay, concealers, I have 10. And 4 of those are drugstore, the rest are high-end. As much as I love the ones that I do have right now, I want to branch out and try some other ones. I'm just really curious to see what else is out there. I love trying new concealers, probably just as much as I like trying new foundations. Maybe a little bit more actually. I don't know why that is. I do like pretty much all of the concealers that I have in my collection right now, so I can't say that there's any in here that I would declutter anytime soon unless they expire. I almost forgot to talk about color correctors, but I did decide to categorize these separately from concealers. I only have 3, which is perfect for me right now. I really don't need any more color correctors unless I see some sort of new color corrector product out there that I'm really interested in, but I'm really happy with the 3 that I have. I really like the one from Milani lately. It's super lightweight. The peach corrector from E.L.F, I'm kind of in between with that one. It can be a little bit drying sometimes depending on the concealer that I pair it with, but the green color corrector, that one I use all the time because I have a lot of redness on my cheeks. So I use all 3 of these a lot actually. Next up is luminizers. I was gonna include these as primers because they're technically like a glowy primer base type of product, but I find it easier to just categorize them as luminizers because that's technically what they are. So I do have 5 luminizers, and as you may know, the one that I am trying to use up at the moment is the one from Charlotte Tilbury, but I love all the luminizers that I have. My least favorite one, I would say, is the one from Maybelline, the 4-in-1 Glow Perfector. I don't love the packaging, so that's really more of what I don't like about the product, but the actual formula I think is really nice to use on an everyday basis because it's super lightweight. I would say my favorite one is the one from E.L.F, and I do have 2 shades in that one. That's how you know I really like it. The Auric one, I really don't know if or when I'm ever gonna run out of it because it does have so much product, but it's such a pretty glowy base. Okay, for face powders, I do have 10. 4 of those are pressed setting powders, and then the rest of them are loose powders. A few of these I do want to use up by the end of the year because they're close to being expired. The Cover FX one is technically expired, but I'm determined to use up that powder. I don't know what it is, but I just want to completely use it up. It just sounds like it'll be super satisfying for some reason, probably because I've had it for such a long time. And when I did attempt to do my first project pan, I want to say like 3 years ago, that was the setting powder that I had in that project pan. So I want to use it up once and for all. If I don't for some reason, I think I'm just going to toss it out because it is pretty old now. I also want to use up the pressed powder from Charlotte Tilbury. That one's just a mini, so I don't think it's going to be that hard for me to do that. I don't know that I'll be purchasing more than maybe 1 to 2 powders throughout the year. I am very interested in trying the one from M Cosmetics, the newest pressed powder that she came out with. So I think that might be my next powder purchase, but I also don't want to overdo it. So I might just keep it to 1 to 2 powders that I'm going to add throughout the year. Next up is setting sprays. I do have 7. And out of all of these, I would say my least favorite ones are the ones from Wet n Wild. I don't love the mist on those, and the formula is just okay. It's not something that I would recommend to you guys, and definitely not something that I would want to repurchase. But the rest of the setting sprays in my collection, I'm super happy with. I'm definitely going to repurchase the one from Charlotte Tilbury. That one is just a mini, so I do want to purchase the full size, maybe during the next Sephora VIB sale. And yeah, just overall, I really like the setting sprays that I have right now. Okay, so blushes. I have 52 blushes in my collection, and I really didn't think that I had that many. I knew I had a lot, but once I started counting them, I was kind of surprised. I thought I had a little bit less. I did include cream and liquid blushes as well as powder blushes, all in this category. I didn't want to keep them separate because I just didn't really see the point in doing that. So I have 52 blushes at the moment. I wouldn't say that's technically the biggest category that I have. I definitely have more of a couple of other categories. It's still a big collection though, but I love all of the blushes in here. I can't really say that any of these are not good. Yeah, I don't see any that I would say I dislike. So that's a good thing. I do like all of the blushes in my collection, and I try to rotate through them whenever I can, but I tend to just stick to a few blushes at a time. So I'm really trying to make an effort to rotate through them more this year than I did last year, because last year I really only used a handful of blushes, even though I do enjoy all of the ones that I have with me, but I tend to stick to the ones that I really, really like. So I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to get some use out of all the blushes that I have. I love buying blush. I love trying new ones. So even though I'm not trying to grow my collection too much more than what it is right now, I still am going to be trying new blushes every once in a while. And I did include blush palettes, by the way. I didn't want to consider them to be face palettes because they technically only have blushes in there. So the ones that only have blushes, I'm considering them to be blushes. And then palettes that have like a mixture of different things like blush, bronzer, and highlighter, I'm considering those to be face palettes. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I think I have almost an even mix of cream and liquid blushes and powder blushes. Next up are bronzers, and I currently have 17. I think I have pretty much an even mix between cream and liquid bronzers and powder bronzers. Just by looking at the picture, I think it's almost 50-50. I'm trying to use up the Makeup by Mario contour stick. I have about a quarter left of it, so I should be done with that one in maybe a couple of months. I realized that it takes me such a long time to go through bronzer, whether it's a pressed powder bronzer or a cream or liquid one. Even though I use bronzer every time that I do my makeup, I feel like it takes such a long time to use up one of them completely. So same with setting powders. I don't know why it just takes me so long to use them up. One of the Becca ones is actually a backup for the other one that I already have open, so I just wanted to point that out. I think it's the one at the top that's the brand new one, and the one underneath I have been trying to work through for like 3 to 4 years, and I use it consistently and I still haven't hit pan. Well, technically I did already hit pan on it, but I ended up crushing it all up and repressing it with alcohol, and since that I haven't hit pan anymore. But it's just such a good bronzer. It's so sad that Becca as a brand is technically done. I really miss being able to purchase this bronzer. I know I have a backup, so I'm gonna be okay, but it's just something about this bronzer formula that I thought was just perfection. So I'm really glad that I got a backup before they completely got rid of them. So to my surprise, I actually have more highlighters than I do bronzers. I don't know why I thought I had way more bronzers than I did highlighters. I think it's just because I haven't been using powder highlighters that much lately. I tend to use more luminizers instead underneath my makeup or underneath my foundation. But I actually have 19 highlighters, so 2 more than I do bronzers. A couple of them are highlighter palettes. So the one from KVD Beauty, the ABH Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit, and the one from Essence, which I'm pretty sure has been discontinued. But besides that, I do have mostly powder highlighters, and then I only have one cream highlighter from Nude Sticks. That one is in the shade Bubbly Baby, and it's such a pretty shade, but I just don't use cream highlighters that often. So I'm glad that I only have one because I really don't use products like that. But besides that, I do like to reach for a powder highlighter every once in a while, and really I tend to use it more for my inner corners, but on my face it's just a rare occasion nowadays. Yeah, I just haven't been reaching for my powder highlighters all that much, but I'm gonna try to make an effort to do that this year. I really don't want to neglect any category in my collection, so I'm gonna work on using more of my powder highlighters. Next up are face palettes, and I only have 4. Even though 2 of those don't really look like they would be face palettes, they technically are, or at least I'm considering them to be face palettes. The one from Physicians Formula, for example, that one I recently tried in a trying new makeup video, but that one has bronzer, blush, and highlighters, so I didn't really know whether I should categorize it as a bronzer or a blush, because like I said, it does have a highlighter as well. So I just wanted to categorize it as a face palette to make my life easier. And then the Hot Cocoa Duo from Ofra, I'm also categorizing as a face palette because it does have a bronzer and a highlighter. I really don't reach for face palettes all that much anymore, but the ones that I do have, I really enjoy, especially the one from Hourglass. I would say that one is my favorite out of all the four that I have. The one from Becca, I really haven't used in a few years. I'm keeping it mainly as a collector's item, so I will reach for it every once in a while. I'll try to make an effort to do that. The Physicians Formula one, I'm still testing out, but I've been liking it. It's just a little hard to get my brush in there, so the different shades kind of mix, even if I don't want them to. But it's pretty good overall. Okay, so eyeshadow primers, I have 5. I really don't feel the need to have more eyeshadow primers in my collection. I'm pretty happy with the ones that I have, and I do tend to rotate through most of these. I would say my least used one is the NYX Glitter Glue. I just forget to use it. And then the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I do like it, but it can be a little tricky to work with in my opinion. It tends to grab onto shadows for me. It is a sample, so I don't have a ton of product, but I would say the Rare Beauty one and the one from Milani are my 2 favorite eyeshadow primers. If I only had those 2, I would be completely fine. I just happen to have a few more because I wanted to try them. And actually, before I forget, the one from Wet n Wild is the newest one in my collection, and I think it works pretty well. I wouldn't call it a favorite. I think it's just a good eyeshadow primer. I am wearing it right now. I have on the Natasha Denona Retro palette, and everything went on really nicely. I have my other 2 favorites, so I wouldn't consider this one a favorite. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick update on that one. I'm still testing it, so again, I will have a drugstore makeup roundup very soon, hopefully by March. Okay, so cream and liquid shadows. Honestly, I rarely use these. I have 11 in my collection right now, and I try to use them every once in a while, but I just forget, and I tend to reach for a regular eyeshadow primer most of the time. So I am trying to make an effort to use these a lot more this year because I have been neglecting them, and I do like the ones that I have, so I'm going to try to use them more often. But right now I have 7 liquid shadows. I think only one of them is a shimmer. The rest of them are matte. So the matte liquid ones I do like to use as an eyeshadow base. And then the rest are stick eyeshadows, so more like an eye crayon. I want to keep my collection as it is, so I don't think I'm going to be purchasing any more items like this, at least not anytime soon. But who knows, maybe something will come out that interests me. I'll just have to see. So I actually have the same amount of eyeshadow palettes as I do blushes. So I do have 52 eyeshadow palettes, and I don't remember the exact number that I had last year before I did my eyeshadow palette declutter, but I want to say I had over 100. I have decluttered almost half of my eyeshadow palette collection since I did those declutter videos, and I'm pretty happy with that. I haven't been super interested in a lot of recent eyeshadow palettes. I don't remember the last one that I purchased actually. I'm trying to remember. It might have been the Christmas palettes from Eye, but I just haven't been super interested in a lot of new palette releases, and there actually haven't been a ton of new releases anyway, so hopefully more palettes start coming out, maybe in the spring or something, because I do kind of want to buy a new palette. I'm just kind of craving a new palette. Not that I need any more in my collection, but it would just be fun to try a new one. I guess if anything comes out that I'm interested in, I will probably look into purchasing it. But as of now, I've been trying to rotate through the ones that I have, and I've been having a lot of fun shopping my stash lately and just using what I have while also trying new makeup along the way. But I'm just trying to not overdo it like I did other years. I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious of the makeup that I'm bringing in. I wanted to keep trios and quads in their own categories, so I do have 4 of them. 3 of them are from E.L.F, the bite-sized eyeshadow palettes, which I really enjoy, and then 1 Beauty Bento trio from Kaja, which I also really love. So I'm really happy with the trios and quads that I have right now. I tend to reach for bigger palettes most of the time, but I do like to reach for these every once in a while, especially for really quick looks. So I have 67 magnetic singles, which is honestly a little too much for me. I don't use maybe even half of these, which I know sounds really bad, but I tend to reach for actual palettes. I used to love single shadows, but it's really rare for me to reach for my single shadows nowadays. Most of these mattes are from Makeup Geek, and then a few of them are from ColourPop, and the shimmers, I want to say most of them are from Juvia's Place because I did depot some of them from some palettes that I decluttered, and then a few of them are also from ColourPop. The glitters are from With Love Cosmetics. So I don't see myself purchasing any more matte singles in a while because I really don't use them often. If anything, I might just declutter some of the shimmers that I have in here that I really don't use and maybe purchase a few here and there throughout the year, especially the ones from Half Magic. I really want to try those. There are a couple that I'm interested in, so yeah, there's no rush with trying those. It's just something that I want to try eventually, but magnetic singles, I don't know what it is. I just don't think about using them for some reason, even though I love the formulas. And then as for non-magnetic singles, I have 17. So this includes all of my ColourPop Super Shock shadows, one eyeshadow from NARS, which is super pretty, but I don't think they make it anymore. I have a couple of loose glitters from Artist Couture, and then two single duochromes from LA Girl, which I've really been enjoying lately. I did declutter a few ColourPop Super Shock shadows last year. Some of them were dried out. Others I just didn't really care for anymore. But I'm happy with my non-magnetic singles collection. I definitely reach for these more than I do my magnetic ones. I think I just prefer shimmers like this. I recently went through my entire eyeliner collection and decluttered, I want to say, about half of them. So I do have 20 now. I'm pretty sure I had maybe like 40 or close to 40. A lot of them were dried out or expired, so I decided to just declutter them. And these that I have, I'm really happy with. I've been trying to reach for them more lately because I keep forgetting to apply eyeliners. I don't know why, but once I'm done with my eyeshadow look, I forget to apply eyeliner, even though that used to be like a crucial step in my makeup routine. But for some reason, the past couple of years, I just haven't really done that. I did remember to do that today, so I've been a little bit better about that, but I've been trying to maintain my eyeliner collection. I don't like to keep eyeliners that are dried out anymore. I used to just keep them because I was like, maybe I can make them work, but realistically, once an eyeliner dries out, you can't really do much about it. At least I don't think so. So I've been trying to maintain my collection now and really only keep what works and what I know I've been reaching for. I also haven't been buying a ton of new eyeliners lately. I don't remember the last one that I bought. The one from Natasha Denona is probably the newest one. I think that's the last one that I purchased. I am really happy to say that I only have 3 mascaras at the moment. That didn't used to be the case. I used to have anywhere from 5 to 6 mascaras open at a time because I always wanted to try new ones, but lately I've been trying to just stick to the ones that I really enjoy. And I do want to try some new mascaras, but I'm trying to be more conscious about it. I'm trying to just use up the mascaras that I have before buying too many new ones. The Rare Beauty one is still my #1 favorite. I haven't found anything that comes close to that. And then the Lash Princess, the one in black, I really, really like. But the black brown shade, it just doesn't have that same impact. And I feel like the formula is a little bit different. So 3 mascaras open at a time is not too much for me. I have been using all 3. I have 10 brow products at the moment, and 2 of them are brand new. I haven't opened them yet because I haven't gone through the other brow gels in my collection. I'm waiting till those run out. But one of them is the Milk Makeup Kush Fiber Brow Gel, and the other one is the Kosas Air Brow Gel. That one is a sample, and then the Milk Makeup one I did get on sale last year. I don't tend to try new brow products very often. I like to stick to the ones that work for me, so it is kind of hard for me to branch out, but I do want to try the newest brow pencil from Benefit. They're like super slim eyeliner pencil. That might be the next one I try, but honestly, I don't really need any more brow products, as you can see, because I do have 10 of them. So it's not that I need any more, but I might want to try at least a new brow pencil eventually. But I'm happy with the brow gels that I have and the brow pencils as well. I honestly don't use anything other than that. So for lip products, I did divide them into 3 categories. So lip glosses, lip liners, and lipsticks. Lip glosses, I have 27. I just love lip glosses. I love trying new ones, and I like having a couple different ones in my purse, some other ones in my everyday makeup drawer, and I especially love my Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb collection. They're mostly minis that I've collected over the past few years. And honestly, I don't think I'll get rid of them anytime soon, even though they're technically expired, but I just love my collection so much. The most recent one I purchased was the Holiday Gloss Bomb. And then of course I have a bunch of lip plumping glosses. I love that burning, tingling sensation on my lips, so I'm always trying new ones. I have 37 lipsticks, which is a lot, but I figured I would combine traditional bullet lipsticks with liquid lipsticks, so I did include those as one category. I do reach for my bullet lipsticks a lot more than I do liquid lipsticks nowadays. Liquid lipsticks can be very drying on me, and I have been struggling with super dry lips, so even regular lipsticks I haven't been reaching for a ton. I do prefer a lip gloss nowadays. I like having a variety of different textures, different shades, different undertones, just depending on the different looks that I do. So even though my collection is quite large at the moment, I do plan on adding some more throughout the year. I just know myself. I always want to try new ones, but I think I'm going to avoid liquid lipsticks because, again, I just don't reach for them that often anymore. I don't remember the last time that I used one actually, so I'll probably end up decluttering some of them sometime this year. And then lip liners, I have 38, which is definitely the biggest category in terms of lip products for me. Of course, they're mostly neutrals. Are we surprised? I do have a lot of pinky browns and a lot of brown nude shades. That's just what I tend to prefer and what I tend to reach for the most. And I want to say they're mostly drugstore. I do have a few high-end lip liners in here, but just from what I'm seeing, I think most of these are definitely drugstore, so I guess it's just what I tend to prefer. But that is it for my 2024 makeup inventory. That was a lot of fun. I really was surprised about some categories, especially the magnetic single category, which is the biggest one in my collection. What's funny is that's probably my least used category. I might have to do some decluttering and send those off to a better home. Let me know what videos you want to see next, and I would love to know what is the biggest makeup category in your collection. I know some of you might not collect quite as much makeup as some of us do. You might be healthier about your spending habits, or just you don't like to buy a lot of makeup. So I would really love to know what is the #1 category that you tend to purchase the most of. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.